comic books, movies, TV, and more. Nerds are everywhere. It's time to assemble! It's Nerds United.
Hello and welcome to a brand new, very special Nerds United on YouTube. I am your host. My name is Greg Mahochko. Joining me as always, he is the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. Hi, Mike.
I never know what to do when you're doing introductions. I'm just like, don't look at me while he's talking.
I think what we're going to do next week is we'll turn your camera off and then
keep it off.
No. But we will turn it off, and then it's like you're a professional wrestler and as soon or a UFC fighter. I don't know. I mean, you kind of lean more towards UFC, but then as soon as I hear your name, it's like you're popping through the curtain, and you're like,
okay,
here I am.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, ready? Let's just do that right now. Let's take two. No, okay. Yeah. Now you're my son who wants to play peekaboo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say now playing peekaboo.
But
Greg, why is this a special episode?
Because this past week we got to 40 YouTube subscribers. That means if you are watching this, you're one of the few, the proud. I don't know about the proud, but you're the select few. Tell your friends. We're going to have a great show for you, and we're going to kick it off the way we kick off every episode when we hit a 20 subscriber milestone. We did it at 20. We're doing it tonight, and that is with a shot. Usually, this shot originated with a very large bottle of wild turkey American honey. For turkey before turkey, we would traditionally get together in person pre-COVID, and then Mike, of course, moved, which he's allowed to do. But we would get together the Wednesday night heading into Thanksgiving. We'd have a shot, and then it goes back. The bottle goes back in the chill box for another year. And then Mike's like, you know what sounds fun? YouTube. And then we're like, what would make people want to subscribe? I don't know. Let's see if we can get Greg drunk. It's going to be tough to get me drunk on a shot, especially when I poured the shot myself and I poured it on the low end, because every time we do one of these, Mike, I'm reminded of how much I hate hard liquor.
Gotta get used to it. I mean, you really don't, because it took us a long time to just get 40 subscribers, but I'm very thankful for every 40 of them, by the way. And tell your friends, be like, hey, these two morons, they kind of do something somewhat cool. Let's subscribe to them.
The perfect way to describe Nerds United is, hey, these two morons. All right, so that's where we're going to start things off, because we have a lot for this episode. So let's start, as I mentioned, with the booze.
All right.
Mike, do you have any fun stories behind your shot glass?
Oh shit, I'm back. Nope, got it with just a set with other stuff. So.
I found this. Don't ask me where I found it. I knew it existed. I washed it, but I don't know if you can see that. Dave and Buster's Nashville. Okay.
Also, first of all, just so everybody knows, so everybody saw the booze that was in there.
Yeah.
Originally, Greg said
I overpoured quite a bit.
No. Greg said, "Hey, do you think about half of this is okay?" And I looked at it, and I said, I can't really tell because I don't know how much this.
That's half. That's half right there.
What are you talking about? That's 1/3.
That's fine. 1/2, 1/3. There's a one in there. I mean, another prime number.
I know you went to Westwood, but you gotta know math a little bit better than that.
I had a few issues on the pour. At first, I overpoured. I'm like, nope, that's not going to happen. And then in the pour back, I didn't want to go like back and forth. So it is what it is. And hey, Mike, we're just going to make the best of it, right?
All right, you ready?
I am.
Tell me when.
Okay. 3, 2, Sláinte. Never good, Mike.
You got a chaser? What do you got? Hold on. Let me just say this to somebody real quick because I know they're going to be watching. Best friend of the show, Josh. He'd be on my side. Did you not teach this man better? All right. You were with him in the younger years, Josh. All right. You taught him milk? Taught him milk was a good choice?
He did not. I was actually just looking in the fridge when I went to put the wild turkey back, and I'm like, let's just have some fun. I really thought I did it just for the humor aspect. I took one of my son's chocolate.
Did it work?
I'm like,
how's it for a chaser?
It's fine.
Okay. All right.
And then I've got water for the rest of the night.
You also have more bourbon for the rest of the night.
Who?
You.
No, it's already back in the fridge.
I'm sure you could go there.
I'm sure I could. I could also theoretically win the $1 million jackpot lottery, but you got to play to win, and I don't play. And you got to walk to the fridge to get the bourbon, and I'm not heading that direction.
You also that chair rolls, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, never mind then.
Plus, I as you were very quick to point out, I only had a smidge of alcohol, and if I tried to roll this chair, assuming it was on wheels, I'd still have to take the headset off, or we'd really be the hit of the internet.
You know what? One thing I will say about bourbon is burping bourbon is not that fun.
Drinking bourbon's not that fun.
That's all right.
All right, Mike, real quick
Okay.
before we get into our big topic for the YouTube show, I stopped by our favorite comic shop, Twilight Comics, Swansea, Illinois, today, picked up another issue of Bloodshot, and I forgot to tell them that to add Berserker, that Keanu Reeves book, to my pull list, so they didn't have any. If there's a second print, I'll get number 2 of that. 3 and 4 and subsequent issues are heading my direction. But I asked Rhiannon, I said, I've been coming around here a long time. I don't always like the cape and cowl stuff. I like to branch out a little bit. What do you suggest? And she said, well, how are you for like high fantasy or even like mid fantasy? I said, talk to me about it. And I'll get into more detail on the podcast because I don't want to waste a ton of time here on the YouTube show. But she pointed me in the direction of this graphic novel. This is the first of 3 sets, 3 volumes that they had, 1, 2, and 3, but it is called Die.
Oh,
and I apologize for the glare on the book. Now that's supposed to be die, not like, but die as in like dice. So
okay.
It's, again, I'll explain what I was told about. I'm only a couple pages in. On the podcast this week, jitterymonkey.com, I'll tell you a little bit about how it was broken down to me, but I'm very excited to read it. I think it's going to hit on a lot of familiar notes and fun notes for me. So be listening for that, jitterymonkey.com, on the Nerds United podcast and wherever you enjoy your best podcasts. But Mike, now let's get into this week's show right here on Nerds United on YouTube.
At whatever minute mark we're at right now.
43
minutes in. Yes. So Greg, you had the idea. You actually surprisingly early in the week, you sent it to me and said, I got an idea for a video. Let's make one small change in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Take a movie that the YouTube mates and other people have given us, and we just make one small change for it and see how that changes the movies. So I don't know if you want to start with, because a couple people commented on the video. Thank you. Some people commented on the post. Thank you. I have them all written down also. Thank me.
Did you have who commented where?
Nah, on the Facebook. No, I don't. Yeah, you go to look. Somebody commented Steel.
Yeah, so we'll start there. Aaron,
Okay.
and I apologize. I'm not going to do last names because I don't want to mess them up. So Aaron, fresh out the gate, said Steel. Of course, 1990s, Shaquille O'Neal. He's an I want to say he's an Army Ranger. He's an engineer in the Army who created a weapon that the bad guys took. The bad guys within the military. They repurposed. He's like, this is supposed to be more for defense. They were using it for purposes beyond his designs. So he created this steel persona. And it was around it had to be after 94 because Steel, the DC character, was out. And that happened after Death of Superman, if I remember correctly. So, so I'll let you go first. Now that I've kind of set the stage on the movie Steel, a good reminder for. And by the way, I watched it. I think I mentioned this. After I got HBO Max a few months ago, I watched it for old time's sake. It does not age well, and it wasn't that good to start with.
Okay, well, and you might have a better answer than mine because I haven't watched it. It's probably since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. This is one of the easier ones I had to make a change for. This is what you do. You recast Shaquille O'Neal. Okay? John Henry Irons is supposed to be a genius engineer. There is nothing about Shaquille O'Neal, and no offense, Shaq, if you're watching this, you're a multimillionaire. You shouldn't care what I say. But there's nothing about Shaq that says genius. All right. There's also nothing about John Henry Irons that says he needs to be 7 foot tall. So it's not like, well, we had to get him because he was the only 7 foot tall guy. No. You can recast, pick any actor, any black actor, and there you go. There's John Henry Irons for you, as long as he can act. So that's mine. That was, like I said, as soon as I saw that one, I was like, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing. Recasting.
So mine's a little bit more. I don't disagree with your reasoning or your tweak there, your change. I think that the movie Steel, which was a DC property, could benefit most from referencing Superman, because the Superman was such an inspiration to John Henry Irons. The self-sacrificing nature of Superman, to put everybody else first, which aligned very in sync with what John Henry Irons, his beliefs as an individual. And so that inspiration of like, hey, what can I do? How can I help my community? The area, whatever. So there was nothing. It was just L.A. He's like in the L.A. in the 90s. A lot of stereotypes thrown around there. The gang activity, things like that. Which I've never been to L.A., but I've never been through that part. I don't think I've been to that part. Anyway, it's just that aspect of it was very dated to me. As I mentioned, the movie doesn't age well, but if you put in something, if you mention something recognizable, there had to be, 85% of people who saw Steel in theaters. So 85 people, had no idea that Steel was a DC property, besides maybe they had the DC watermark or logo or something like that at the beginning. I don't even remember now. You have to. I would love to see a new Steel movie, and you could do it. I know they're moving away from the Snyderverse, as it were, but there's a world, and even with Superman having come back, he was dead, and unfortunately, he was only on the scene for a cup of coffee, before he got killed by.
Tuesday.
Thank you. Which that movie got brought up as well. So, but there's a world in where John Henry Irons in the Snyderverse sees self-sacrificing nature of Superman and becomes inspired, puts his, genius engineering, his brain to work, and comes up with a way to, again, helping his neighborhood, helping his city, whatever he has to do to be a hero. The lack of Superman or a mention of Superman, especially having the benefit of having watched it so recently, I wouldn't have picked up on that, 25 years ago, but having watched it so recently, it stuck out like a sore thumb to me.
Yep. Well, you're absolutely right. I like that. It's good. All right. Next one is, I believe this one is actually from Siler Magic.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman. Like I said yes before I said what it was. Like, I know which one you're going to say. Mm-hmm. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
It goes back to Doomsday.
Okay.
I can even. Here's the thing: the Martha scene gets so much shit. Still, I mean, like, I even joke about it, but I feel like either they rushed Doomsday, like they didn't need to go right to Doomsday, or if you're going to do Doomsday, have him look right. Like, I remember Doomsday from Smallville, and it just looked better. I mean, it was a TV show versus a major blockbuster movie, so the budgets are different. But he resembled more like Doomsday, and so I would have liked. I would not have gone Doomsday. First of all, you want to have like some type of unifying threat. There's another way to do it besides introducing Doomsday in the second, the minute that we get, Superman. I don't know. It seemed like too big of a threat for so early in the story.
Yeah, actually, I was actually talking to Nolan about this, what we were doing, and he suggested to have he said he wanted to see Bizarro instead of Doomsday. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That was his. That's not mine. Mine actually has to do with the Martha scene because it is horrible. It is a stupid scene. I understand what they were trying to do with it. They were trying to make Superman appeal to have Batman humanize him, right? Okay, first of all, they just made Batman dumb. Like, he didn't know that. First of all, he's the greatest detective. He should have known Superman was Clark Kent, and Clark Kent's adopted parents are Martha and Jonathan, right? But whatever, he doesn't know this, right? So Superman says, Martha, so something Martha, and Batman just freaks out. Why'd you say that name? Like, first of all, me and Nolan were laughing about that. Also, just kind of side note, and we said, what if he freaked out every time someone mentioned the name Martha? like he's at Starbucks. Yeah, they're like, yeah, vanilla frappuccino for Martha. He's like, who is that? Martha.
And straight in like as Bruce Wayne, but straight in the gravelly, like,
oh yeah. So okay, I understand what they're trying to go for. Here's what I would change about it, though. And by the way, we said one small change. This would have to change all kinds of scenes to get this right. But I would like that appeal to actually come from Martha, right? I want Martha to be the one to tell Batman, hey, don't kill my son, or even if it's not directly from her, like a picture or something, like, Superman, he's been carrying around a picture of both his mom and dad, whatever. And in the fight, it falls out and Batman looks at it. And that's when he realizes, oh my God, he's got a human side. He, just like me, he had parents or whatever, he has something like that. I think the best would become if the appeal came from Martha herself, but if not, some photo evidence besides just a name.
I think the only way to improve on your improvement would be if Martha Wayne were still alive.
That's a better one. We say the improvement is that the Wayne parents never died,
right?
And then there's no Batman. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one, Mike?
The next one I have written down, I believe this is from the Unapologetic Geek. Eric, I think your real name is. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I really am.
That's okay. It's for a little peek behind the curtain. In the YouTube mates, like we all have our real names, but we're also, lack of a better term, pimping our YouTube channels. So we see the Unapologetic Geek, and I think you're right. I think it is Eric, but we're like, it's a lot of, checking it off the list.
Yes.
Process of elimination.
So he suggested Blade Trinity. This is one of my harder ones, by the way. I will just say. You go to see. Am I go first or you?
I'll let you go first this time if you don't mind.
Okay. So I actually just started rewatching this one today because I remember. First of all, it's on HBO Max. I remember it, but I'm like, I don't remember enough of it to where I could really get a good feel on it, right? So I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and that's about as long as it took me to realize kind of one area. There was so much going on with this movie. First of all, I didn't hate it. I know it's one of the worst. People say it's one of the worst of the Blade Trinity movies. I didn't hate it. It's a movie. It's not great. It's not bad.
So
it's a movie.
They say that it's like the worst of the Blade trilogy, but Blade 1 is so well done and so highly regarded, and then Blade 2 is Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
And while it advances the story and shows the evolution or possibly even de-evolution of the vampires, I think people widely hold that one in high regards. And it's got Ron Perlman. It's got some good talent in it. So saying that Blade Trinity is like it's the worst of the three is like saying it. I'm trying to think of like three top things where it's like, oh, it's the worst. It's like 1A, 1B, 1C. It's still
right. Yeah.
I come at it from I've had that movie for 15 years, whatever it is. And while I haven't watched it in a while, I enjoy the heck out of it. It's got Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Biel, Triple H.
Yep.
And
others. Yeah, there's other people in there. It's got Dominic Purcell. Yeah. So okay, there was a lot going on behind the scenes with Blade. Real quick, apparently, and this is from Patton Oswalt, who was in the movie. He's also in there.
Yes.
Yeah. The Blade, Wesley Snipes and the director didn't get along at all. Wesley Snipes did nothing but smoke weed all day. He would only show up for his close-ups. So if you see Blade in there, and it's like from a distance, he's walking over, that's not Wesley Snipes. That's a stand-in. He wanted people to address him as Blade. That's the only way he would get addressed.
I've heard that.
So he was kind of having a mental breakdown, right? Now, originally I was going to say either if Wesley Snipes didn't want to do it, if he was having a mental breakdown and he couldn't do it, at first I was going to say get rid of Wesley Snipes. But I was like, no, can't do that, right? And I'll say get rid of the director, have the director. And that probably would work. I have a couple other suggestions, and this could go any way, all right? One suggestion would be, and this is going to sound odd, get rid of the Night Stalkers. The Night Stalkers, if you don't remember, that's Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Biel, right, and the others, right?
The Help.
I say get rid of them because, number one, I think they should have had their own spin-off movie. They should have had an origin movie. And then the focus is more on Blade and not Blade and the others. Yes.
Did you say orgy movie?
Well, I said origin, but if they want to have an orgy movie too, I mean,
I was like, my ears are going. My ears are getting bad, Sonny. You're gonna need you to speak up.
No, either one. Jessica Biel. So either one. So that's one suggestion. Like I said, then you could focus on Blade and not have all these other characters, right? Which, granted, I think the other characters were way better, but like I said, they get their own spin-off movie, right? Other suggestion is, and I don't know how much they've done with this because, like I said, I'm only 3/4 of the way through. So there's kind of two plots. There's the main plot and the subplot. The main plot is that Dracula, big original OG Dracula, is back and they have to kill him, right? A mini subplot is that they're harvesting humans, right? They have humans that are in a chemical-induced coma, so they're brain dead, but they're still alive, and they're basically supplying the vampires with blood. And I think they said in there like, oh, every human could supply us with like 50 to 100 pints, whatever. I don't know how much that is. But I would much rather the whole movie be about that, right? The whole Dracula thing, it's like, okay, that's another big bad. You did that in the first one. I forgot what the second one was, to be honest with you. Probably another big bad. And then that's the third one. That's another big bad. It does. I like the idea of them having, first of all, them having to fight this entire system, because they said it's in every major city, right? And that's when they're talking about. There's tens of thousands of vampires out there. We don't even know how many. So you could still have them do the bioweapon, right? But then they're having to clean up all of these the human banks, food banks, whatever you want to call them, right?
And if I remember correctly, didn't the vampires bring back Dracula to stop Blade?
Right.
Because he was like interfering with their business, or he was going to be a problem. So they brought him back as an insurance policy, basically.
Yeah, they brought him back. Basically, you said it was. It was so. Like I said, I watched it again, and I like Blade Trinity. I wouldn't say I like it, but I don't know if you remember this scene in the beginning. In the beginning, he's chasing somebody who he thinks is a vampire. He shoots them with the stake, and they just fall to the ground. They don't turn to ash, right? And he even says like, "I hit you with blah 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 silver. Why aren't you ash?
Shouldn't be ash or dust or whatever by now."
Yeah. He says, "Shouldn't you be ash?" And then the guy's like, "Haha, I'm actually a human," And then they have somebody filming it, which I realized this a long time ago. They had him filming with like one of these camcorders. And I was thinking to myself, you are not getting a clear picture with that, because they were pretty far back.
Yep.
That's a blurry picture you're getting.
That's a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot image right there,
Right, exactly. But then also just from that, he's there's a manhunt out for him. He's what do they say? Something number one suspect. But basically, like, everybody's after him.
Right.
And I'm like, really? Just because of one? Like, look, no offense, but there's a lot of bad stuff that happens in this world, and I wish it didn't. But it wouldn't be like somebody gets killed and then all police just stop everything.
Yep. And
it's just focus on this guy. Just sorry, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what would your be? Sorry, I ranted a little bit.
No, that's okay. So I think what I like about this movie is we got in this movie, of course, Ryan Reynolds playing Hannibal King.
Yep.
But when you look at that, in his performance and the dialogue and the the writing for it, that was to me almost feels like a precursor to Deadpool. So, and I mentioned him on the other side, Triple H. Mm-hmm. Triple H didn't have any reason to be there. And no offense to the guy, I'm probably going back to 15, 16 year old or 15, 16 year ago me, who knew of Triple H because I had watched wrestling before, and I'm like, oh, he's another wrestler making the transition, going to Hollywood, and obviously he didn't, and he's doing well. But that probably was what intrigued me more than anything. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this movie because Triple H is in it, and I was like, looking back, and again, you're watching it here recently. I haven't seen it in years. I don't think he added anything. He had the little Pomeranian from hell, but any of them could have, carried around the little dog from hell. So I think I would just get rid of that character completely.
Okay. Do you add anybody in there? Or, because I thought about that too, because he's not that great of an actor. Granted, it was one of his first acting roles in a major motion picture, but I don't know.
And he looked big as a house too.
Oh yeah, he was all natural.
He's been into bodybuilding for 30-something years.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said all natural.
No, it's okay. There's no funny business going on there, sir.
Nope, none at all. But okay, but if get rid of him, but does that change the movie?
I don't think so, because I don't think that he, not him. I'm not blaming Triple H. I don't think that character added anything. I think that character was an addition because they're like, oh, we got this big bastard who wants to, be a part of the movie, and let's just throw him in on this side because everybody needs, every bad guy needs a henchman to do the dirty work. And that's kind of what. But I don't think. I think if you take that entire character out, you don't lose anything.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
So,
all right. So that's yours. That's understandable. All right. Next one is, and I forgot who said this. We might have to look it up. It was on our YouTube video, Super. So, Greg, have you ever seen Super?
I have not.
Okay.
And I had it in my queue on Hulu, and I was actually going to go watch it within the last week or two. And it must be off Hulu right now because it's no longer it's still in my watch list. So if it ever would pop back onto Hulu, I guess I don't know if I get notified or it just becomes available, but it's not there to view anymore. So if someone tells me where I can find it, I'd be more than happy to watch it.
I wish I could tell you right now because I wanted to rewatch it because I haven't seen it in several years. Right. I would if it ever comes back on Hulu. You definitely don't just stop whatever you're doing and watch Super, right? Okay. No matter what you're doing, you're feeding a baby. Stop.
Sleeping.
You're taking it. You're sleeping. Wake up. Watch Super. You're taking a shower. Get out of that shower. Watch Super. Okay.
Like dry off, put on clothes.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, this is all right.
Straight down. Gotta watch.
Better be the best movie I've ever come across. Then if I'm gonna walk around my house naked.
Ashley might not mind.
She will.
Or she'll be like, what are you doing? You're weird.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it in several years. If I had to guesstimate 5-6 years, I haven't seen it. I will be honest with you. I don't think there can be a change to this movie. There's nothing about this movie where I'm like, I would change this or this, whatever it is. Look, whoever said this, and Greg, can you look up on our video to see who said it?
I'd be more than happy to.
Because I cannot remember, and I want to say to this person, if you can think of something that you want to change on this, you might be right. Like I said, I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe there's some glaring issue.
Did you know that we're up to 42?
Yeah.
Now that's incredible.
42. Big 42.
Death Star Killer.
Death Star Killer. Oh, yes.
Also, quite possibly, we had Super by a couple of accounts, so it could be Death Star Killer or Alan or both. I mean, like Alan could be Death Star Killer, or
Death Star Killer could be Alan,
or we have two bonus followers.
Okay, all right, yeah. So Death Star Killer. I don't remember any change that I would want from this movie. I really don't. I said, tell me what change you think you would make on it. Comment below, wherever below is, right here. And
where below is. So can I make a change as well for Super, having not seen it?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
Would say more advertising for it, because all I know, honestly, the only thing I know about it is the stars Rainn Wilson. Like, I don't think I've ever even seen a trailer for it. So again, I could fix that. I could go on YouTube right here on YouTube and look at the trailer for it. I'm sure, maybe if it jumped off Hulu, it went to another site. I don't know. But I never knew that much about it. I'm guessing it's not, is it somebody with superpowers? Is it somebody who's like just an everyday man who's trying to do the right thing? Or do I just need to stop asking questions and just watch the movie?
Just watch it.
Okay.
Just watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
I think you will enjoy it. I believe James Gunn directed it.
Oh, okay.
I believe. There was 2 movies, I want to say around the same time, but they could be like far apart. There was Super and there was Defendor. I don't know if you ever remember Defender. Defender was with Woody Harrelson. It's not bad. I like Super better though. But yeah, so that's the only one I was like, I can't make any changes to this.
All right.
So,
well, I will.
right.
I'll look for it. Try to find and watch Super and report back here at a later date.
Awesome. All right. Last but certainly not least, by friend of the show, Sean Benner.
Yeah, past guest, West
past
of Oz.
guest. He is West of Oz, and he suggested Captain Marvel, which I'm betting I already know what Greg's going to change on this because we've talked about this before. But I'll let Greg say it. What he thinks to change. I'll let Greg. You go first.
Do you think I'm going to go like blatantly negative, Mike?
Nope. No.
Because
Can I write down what I think you're going to say?
And then like,
and then if I'm right,
like the Newlywed Game where we get a point if you're ahead.
Yep. I got it written down. Down.
I would say more linear storytelling, and again, there you go. And that's not my idea. I appropriated that, borrowed that from Mark Bernardin, Fat Man Beyond, who had discussed that before. It's we should be like, I don't want to say omniscient, but we should be, taken out of the situation to an extent, I think. So if they would have had, her growing up and, falling down, getting back up, playing softball as a child, getting back up in the Air Force, Navy, in her pilot training, and being told she can't do things. If we would have seen all those, and then the fighter incident, and then whisked off to Kree, the Kree homeworld, and seen all of that, and then come back to Earth, it would have made more. I think it would have flowed better. And look, I'm going to catch shit for this, and I'm prepared for it. I didn't need an alien cat. I didn't. I don't like cats on Earth. Like cats. I don't need an alien cat.
Okay.
Cats are useless.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, I like I said when I was talking to Nolan about this, I said I know what Gray's going to say. He's going to want the timeline to be linear. It's like only reason now because we talked about it before.
Yeah, and all right, so honestly, we talked about it not too terribly long ago.
No, and so you might know mine too, because I've talked about this before. And
because Brie Larson.
I love Brie Larson. She's my favorite. She's my favorite Captain Marvel, besides Shazam, of course. Yeah. No, in the movie, if I remember correctly, there's a scene where Boy Marvel, I forget what his name is, Jude Law.
Good enough, Boy
Marvel. He's talking to Captain Marvel about don't get emotional. Like he doesn't want her to use her powers. Don't get over emotional. Why? Show me a scene in there. Add a scene in there where it shows Captain Marvel getting emotional, using her powers, and something bad happens.
Right.
You can even have it to where, okay, something bad happens, and all of a sudden, oh my God, she just killed innocent people. And that's why she never wants to use her powers. She can't get emotional. You can even show that scene again later on in the movie and show that, oh, it wasn't actually her fault. He manipulated something. Mm-hmm. And so then she gets redeemed, of course.
And I think part of that, part of your issue with that scene or that, dichotomy, that working relationship between the two of them, it goes back to a lot of what we've seen in the X-Men Phoenix movies with Professor X trying to control the powers and like putting layer on layer on Jean Grey. And there's a fear element, like, oh, we can't have her be too powerful. We can't have her be emotional because that week out of that month, oh, she's going to be hell. And again, I'm making a joke, folks, but I think there's that. And again, unfortunately, I don't remember his name either. Shame on me. I know it's not Marvel, but there's that, that school of thought that, he's just trying to keep her down because maybe he's seen a glimpse of how powerful she can be. And if he doesn't ever let her realize her full potential, then because we find, of course, he's a shitbag, and his shitbag friends. Well, if they've only kept her at like 20% of her power and her potential, then they, have a better chance of winning in that fight if they were ever at odds. So I think by not ever telling her of all that she was capable of, he was, the way I envision is looking out for future him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right. That's all I had.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That was fun. We should do things like this more often, like with sitcoms or cartoons. If there was one thing you could change in a cartoon, what would it be? But do you agree with what we said? Do you think we missed the mark? Would you change anything else? Let us know in the comments below. Right down in
below is.
In YouTube. That's right. We have established that unless I physically
not here.
What?
Mm-mm.
Oh no!
Not here.
I was gonna say we've established that unless I physically turned our pictures upside down, this is always going to be below.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm never going to put the effort in to turn our screens upside down, so you're safe. So we're going to cut end this podcast or end this episode now. Go record the podcast so you can have that for your Saturday listening pleasure. Want to give a shout out to, we mentioned him earlier on, best friend of the show, Josh, had a big day today. It's not my story to tell, but I'm really proud of him. And Mike, you should be too. I'll tell you off air. So,
yeah.
All right. So that is it for Nerds United on YouTube. I'm Greg Mahochko. That is Mike Luther. And we have taken up more of your time than we intended. We apologize, but we remind you to be kind.
And rewind.
I like that flourish. That's very nice, Mike.